I don't know if I've made this yet, so sit down, grandchildren. Uncle Hype is here to explain shit. So I make these things called idiot reviews, and it's sort of a stab at myself, but it's also a stab at other reviewers, and I'm essentially doing things that no other reviewer does. Not necessarily like destroying things, but I could be. But I want to basically bring reviews that are different to the others, and I'll give some examples of reviews that I've done where I've essentially done this. Let's start with the tank. The was it guitars? Oh, the headphones actually. I think the headphones are probably more important. So I have been through headphones in my years, and it's been hard to find some that are comfortable. And I reviewed the Heavy's H1H. So I'm a big metal musician and metalhead. I was hoping these would be good headphones, and they turned out not to be. I've actually pulled down my original review because of it. But in that, I sort of wanted to show that I see a review that nobody else had done, and that was really the reason why I did it. It's not an in-depth test, it's not really using any sort of apps, it's just wired experience. Because believe it or not, I'm on my computer a lot of the time, not a phone. So that's the main experience I'm having. But I saw pretty much no reviews on this, and I was surprised. Given it got so many endorsements and just, I think, articles as well, for that matter. So I gave my experience, and it was positive at first, but then it got worse and stuff. And yeah, I've literally got a new pair of headphones now, because obviously the Heavy's broke. Not very reliable, and I did my follow-up on that. But that's one of the sort of criteria. The other thing is, using the example of guitars again, it's when I don't have all the questions answered. And I also like to show things in a different way. So I'll start with the reason that I make reviews of things that have already been reviewed. It's either because of appearance or just showing a realistic expectation of what you get. Also in an unbiased way. This is the important part. I won't take bribes or even free versions of a product just because it would influence the review in some way. But not to mention, there's also the issue of reliability, as I discovered with the headphones. Because guitars, I think, can be unreliable at times, not all of them. But I think for first impressions, it should always be labelled as that. Not enough people are doing that in their reviews, and that was one of the issues I took with pretty much anything technology related, not necessarily guitars. And then the other thing with it is also a rare use case scenario where I played guitars on Locksmith just to learn songs and enjoy my time with guitar. And realistically, you want to sort of experience it that way, as some people do. So I don't really want to get like a super expensive guitar necessarily, only to play it for like Rocksmith. So you want to know the limitations in that sense, and also using it with the relevant cable, which does downplay its quality, I think, but it still works reasonably well. That's why I did it. And then there's the other thing, which is like sort of the parts that are not shown. And like I said with the headphones, I use them all wired to my desktop computer, and that's really the use case for it, and for guitars as well. It's also how you would see it as well. That's one of the things I noticed in many guitar reviews, is they only show you the front and only a bit of the back, but almost never the sides or even like a close-up. So it's always like you have to fill in the blanks. So you don't get a good idea of what these things look like from other angles, and the same with like the headphones, to use that example again. You also don't get a good idea of what essentially goes into it. Like you don't know like the sort of appearance of it just from looking at it. So It's my other pair of headphones. Fuck. I've got them right here. But yeah, there's things that some reviewers don't even show you on headphones. They probably might not show you the backs, which I think I took off in the follow-up. So I finally figured that out. There's also things like the buttons, which is important, also the ports, which again is really important. Also how it collapses and the sort of design of it, like how firm it is. And it's sort of my issue with a lot of technology reviewers again. For example, phones. I don't plan on making reviews of phones anytime soon. At least until the Fairphone 6 cleans itself up and becomes a better phone, a more reliable one than that, for that matter. But that'd be my first phone review. Even then, I'd have to use it for a good few months to decide, really. Because I think, at least for my current phone, like past the sort of honeymoon phase you have with these products, there can be some really detrimental effects, as we saw in the headphones. Just say that viewers and stuff who've seen that review. But it's really important. The fact that this isn't common information or even like points of review, it shows that it's not good. And the same even applies to games, which I've reviewed myself. I'm pretty sure I've brought up in like Final Fantasy XIV's case here as you're watching. There's an issue of having it not only a live service but multiplayer, and those two create big problems. Being connected to a server, not always the best thing. Speaking of which, I need to go back to my own. So always being online is not the best thing, really. It's going to have problems that will go down. You'll have disconnect issues. And even depending on your computer, I think you can be kicked out. I remember using mobile data to play this, and it was like barely possible. It was actually unbelievably difficult to do because you just kept getting disconnected. So that never really sat well with me. Also, the live service element, it's going to be grindy, and it needs to stand the test of time. Really, it needs to be enjoyable for me to sort of recommend it. And if it's not, then it's not going to be a good review, essentially. I also tried to look for things in the game that explain the experience, and one of the things that inspired me to do reviews was actually a comment I had on one of my reviews of another game. I think it was Sonic Frontiers, actually, when I reviewed that. And I reviewed it on All Such Gaming, essentially, because someone was asking, I think, about what it's like, and I just explained my experience with it. And I got told, hey, that's really insightful. You should think about doing reviews. And I was like, okay. I was doing them before it, but I think I might just do it as a sort of hobby of mine now. I always try to make notes of things as well, not all the time. So that's really one of the complications, but yeah. I'm always about being unbiased and honest with products, and even if I have my own sort of mistakes with them, some that I've not found, I don't really think that's a bad thing. I think that's part of the experience. You know, as it is with games like this, where not everything is obviously visible, like to learn some of this shit, you need to go to like other websites, for example. And it's very complicated. And that's one of the, again, issues I have, like, from an experience point of view. If you're getting the average gamer who's playing like one game every month or so, if they're going to pick this up, like, they're not going to have a good experience. Simple as that. And that's really one of the warning signs of a game, is when something's going to be too hard for the average gamer. Not always, but it's definitely learnable. Everyone has to start somewhere. It's not going to be for everyone, and that's really the point. And a game can't always please everyone, same with products. That's sort of my issue with a lot of these sort of phone reviews. You know, what I want out of a phone. It's very simple. I've actually tried to make a video about this before and sort of failed. Um, well, at the moment I've got a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. Had it for 3 years, and only in the past like year or two it's been starting to have issues, and it's had some really bad ones. Like a few months ago, it used to just freeze for some reason. Like just completely not freeze in the sense that everything stopped working, but lock you in an app. Sort of freezing. It's really bizarre. I don't know if it was a software issue or what. And it happened like 2 or 3 times before, never happening again. And then I had a signal issue or something, and it wasn't sending texts or anything. And then I had an app opening issue, so that's weird. And it hasn't happened for at least a good few weeks now. But it's been a reliable phone, but it's not the best thing. Really, I think it's better on the market. I've really only got it for light gaming and obviously photos as well. On my own, what is it? My own ball pics, yes. Very clean balls. Cook those again. But those are really the sort of reviews I'd consider making. And it's because I want to give the honest experience, honest thoughts about it. And one of the problems with game reviewers, they have this obligation to review everything. And they have to pick from a wide range of things to choose what to use. Even though they could technically get people in their lives to use it, in some cases, I've actually seen that before. I saw a review channel using the Samsung Fold, and actually gave it to his wife for a few weeks and she gave up on it, which is interesting. But that's what we need to see more of, honestly. I'm not interested in how fancy the product is. I'm just more interested in how reliable it is and how it will serve me in the future. Now, I've had this keyboard here called K20, I think. It's like a silent one, you can barely hear it, except for this. It's quite good, it's refurbished, and it served me well. I poured malt vinegar on it at one point, by accident. I was just trying to eat some rice cakes and I thought, that's a good idea. I put some vinegar on it and somehow I ended up spilling it onto the keyboard. It stopped working for a bit, I tried it out and cleaned it up, and it started working again. It hasn't really had any problems since. Yeah, again, that's sort of the point of reviews. You get real world experience with them the longer you use them, whereas something condensed in like a, I don't know, like 10-20 minute video about all the specs of a product which you don't really care about, and then just getting this conclusion that it's a good phone just because it's new, has better hardware, whatever. And again, that's not always what people want. They want experience with it, like a few months. So yeah, that's sort of where I am with reviews, and sort of what these are about essentially. Like guitars and stuff, always going to be reliable for the most part. It's whether you get the full product or not. That's sort of, there's different like lines they have to draw in these sort of reviews. Like when is the best time to review it? When, or can you review it even for that matter? Like how do you review the Earth? Fucking stinks. It's warming up. It's got people on it. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for listening. Hopefully this was informative.